Experience the epic series that the world is watching and raving about. Catch up or relive the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, now on HBO On Demand, and watch back-to-back episodes anytime on your schedule. This year, join the Legion of Followers and enjoy past seasons of Game of Thrones, plus the premiere of Season 4 on April 6th on HBO. Don't miss out. Sign up for HBO and get free access to HBO On Demand.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, why the Deputy Prime Minister thinks a salary increase for MPs will reduce bad temptations. The FNM leader clears the air on the opposition's stance on that matter. And another homicide recorded overnight, and an invitation to step back in time. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and NB12 Weekend starts right now. Welcome once again to NB12 Weekend. The announcement in the House of Assembly this week regarding recommendations to review the salaries of parliamentarians has been met with public outrage. But get this, Deputy Prime Minister and Cat Island, Rumkey and San Salvador MP Philip Brave Davis says a salary increase for parliamentarians would be beneficial to all Bahamians because it would remove the temptation for members to do bad things.
It removes the temptation for politicians to do things that's not right. Because if they're earning a good living, I'm saying good living, if they're earning a living, by doing this, then there'll be no need to do anything else. Right? And I think that's what the Bahamian public have to understand. I think the feelings of our public is probably more rooted in their skepticism about us as politicians and their mistrust of all of us as politicians. But hopefully the time has come for us to win back the trust of the people. That meaning, when I say win back the trust of the people, I'm talking politicians who are on all sides of the spectrum.
Davis says Bahamians need not jump to conclusions so quickly. He said the salary increase was just a recommendation, and as far as he's aware, it may not take effect in the next budgetary period.
I don't think we're going to do anything that's imprudent that will impact our fiscal responsibility, and it will be done fiscally responsibly. But the discussion, I think, the time for discussion has begun.
The Deputy Prime Minister said, regardless of how Bahamians feel, this is a discussion that must be had considering parliamentarians haven't had a salary increase since the late 1980s.
I can tell you, as a Deputy Prime Minister, there are many persons in the public service, particularly in our quasi-governmental agencies, that are making more money than I am. I'm not envious of them, but I'm just pointing out when you look at responsibilities that one has to discharge vis-a-vis the whole country and what various persons has to do in the industry, the disparity that exists. And it is said that in some instances, when some of these persons retire from service, they'll make more money than most ministers will be making in their retirement.
Davis is also of the view that higher salaries will make ordinary Bahamians aspire to a seat in Parliament, knowing that they can earn a comfortable living.
The ordinary man ought not to be shut out from political life and being part of governance. They should not be, right? If it is that they cannot earn a living that could just cause them to live, they'll shy away from it. And what will happen? This will be reserved only for those who are rich, the wealthy, and who can afford it.
Members of Parliament are paid $28,000 a year. Senators are paid $16,000 a year. Now, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says he wants to clear up what he called misunderstandings about the Free National Movement's position on salary increases for members of Parliament. Dana Smith caught up with the party leader today, and she filed this report.
In the wake of criticisms over a potential salary increase for members of Parliament, opposition leader Hubert Minnis said the FNM does not agree with any increase in the current economic climate. He said his party only agreed the matter should be reviewed.
With what is happening in the country today, in terms of people suffering, individuals losing their homes, foreclosure, individuals cannot pay their rents, individuals cannot afford food, their lights are off, water's off. The country is going through hard times. The FNM will not, at this particular time, approve nor agree with a salary increase for parliamentarians.
Leader of Government Business, Dr. Bernard Nottage, said in the House of Assembly a parliamentary select committee has recommended MP salaries be reviewed, noting MPs have not received an increase in 25 years. Nottage said the report received the unanimous consent of all members of the committee, including opposition MPs Hubert Chipman, Theo Neely, and Nico Grant. After criticisms over the report, Grant defended a push for increased salaries for parliamentarians. He said, quote, "Members of Parliament are faced with the same challenges as the ordinary citizen in terms of the cost of living. We shop at the same food stores, buy gas from the same gas stations, and MPs have not had a salary increase or review in over 25 years, despite the cost of living going up numerous times."
I've spoken to Nico, and what Nico said, he said that yes, when you look at the parliamentarian salary, it's probably justified to be increased, but not at this particular time. And he stressed that, not at this time.
The committee's report said MP salaries should be reviewed on the same principle as it pertains to judges and other judicial officers, every 3 years by an independent body. The committee also believes the gap between the salaries of the House Speaker and the Deputy Speaker is too wide. Members' constituency office monthly allowance is insufficient, and members who represent multi-island constituencies be permitted to travel once per month and given an allowance for up to 3 nights for each island. The committee also recommended insurance coverage for members be expanded to include their spouses and should continue after parliamentary service has ended. Among those leveling criticism at parliamentarians over the report, DNA leader Granville McCartney. He said he was amazed and disheartened the government and opposition would seek a salary review when everyday Bahamians are struggling financially. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson also hit out at the report. She said hundreds of teachers are still waiting for millions of dollars to be paid to them, and she questioned the government's priorities.
I want it clear on the record. The FNM has not agreed to any salary increase, and under the present circumstances where there's economic hardship within this country, the FNM will not agree to a salary increase. What we've agreed to was an independent review body to look and review the salary scales of members of Parliament.
Minnis said if a review is conducted in the wake of the report and it is recommended that MPs' salaries are increased, his party would oppose that decision. Reporting for NB12 Weekend, I'm Dana Smith.
In other news, police are tonight investigating the country's latest homicide. Reports are that a man was at King's Bar on Washington Street in the Robinson Road area last night at around 11 when an armed assailant stormed in and shot the victim. He was taken to hospital but later succumbed to his injuries. And after politicizing crime during the election campaign, the government is now realizing there's no magic wand to fit the country's crime problem, and that's according to Christian Council President Dr. Ranford Patterson. He told NB12 recently, crime is everyone's business and we all have to play a major role in the fight.
The sad thing is that the government, the now government, I believe made it a political issue during the election. But they soon realized that it's not political, that they don't have the magic wand, they don't have the know-it-all to erase the crime problem.
Patterson said he believes the government needs to do more to fight crime. He explained although plans such as building new courts are welcomed, the government should focus on that root cause of crime. He said social intervention programs are needed.
I believe there's more can be done. I believe the government needs to do more. We talk about the Bail Act that needs to be revisited. The government's talking about the more courts. But, I had a chance to sit in the courtroom on the invitation of the DPP, and I saw the several times I was there, hundreds of young men being arraigned before the courts. We have to do more than just create courts and prison and so forth. We have to do some programs on the ground that help to deal with the little ones, the babies, the little boys that's coming up, the grade 1s, the grade 2s, grade 3s. We have to find programs that will reach them and empower them so that they can see that there is another way that they can live their lives other than through crime.
Patterson was recently re-elected as president of the Bahamas Christian Council. He said in this new term, he plans to create a place for the nation's troubled men to go for help.
We want to, for example, develop a place for men in our community. We find that so many men in our country are hurting and they have nowhere to go.
And in more news from the police, they say a man who was struck while trying to cross the street died in hospital this morning. Reports are that the driver of a 2004 Nissan Alvera was traveling west along John F. Kennedy Drive just before noon yesterday when he struck the unidentified man. Police say the man driving that car is helping with investigations. And police on Grand Bahama are investigating a collision that killed one man and injured 5 others. According to police, at around 1 a.m., a Chevy Cavalier was traveling west along Grand Bahama Highway with 4 males and 1 female inside when it crashed into a white Chevy Cobalt, which was being driven by a man traveling in an easterly direction. Upon impact, the Chevy Cobalt became engulfed in flames. Once the fire was extinguished, the driver's remains were discovered inside. The five occupants of the other vehicle were taken to the Rand Memorial Hospital where they were treated for their injuries. Stay with us. When MB12 returns, plans to expand BTVI are in the works, and the results of a study into the best tax scheme for the nation. We'll tell you more about those and other stories when MB12 Weekend returns.